Hey, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama in my curlers. Let's talk about the expression today, fiddle as Rome burns. Have you ever been guilty of fiddling as Rome was burning around you? And how would this behavior be beneficial or detrimental to growing and building and supersizing your business? Well, this expression has been around since at least 64 AD when the Emperor Nero, and it might be true, it might not be true, who knows with these stories. Sometimes they're true, sometimes not. But there's usually a modicum of truth to them or they wouldn't have hung around for thousands of years, right? Although it could be like the telephone game where the stories changed over time. Anyway, it is believed that Nero was seen on a high tower playing his lyre while Rome literally burned around him. Not the best behavior or action for an emperor to take, but then again, if they were going to go anyway, maybe it was a good action for him to take. Maybe that was his way of dealing with the stress of the situation. Because when we're stressed, when we're under pressure, we tend to behave in interesting ways, at least interesting ways to other people. I guess if he was going down anyway and he loved to play the lyre, he might as well have gone down doing something that he loves, right? I guess there's always that way of looking at it. So what does this mean? Fiddling while Rome burns, based on this behavior, means that you're doing something that appears to be unimportant or unnecessary in a time of crisis, in a time when it would be expected that you'd be taking action, leading the charge, or moving in a direction that makes sense to other people when there's an apparent crisis going on. Now, all of our businesses, all of our life space crises, at some point for sure when you're building your business, but sometimes often obstacles and challenges come up all the time when we're creating something, when we're building our business, especially when we want to grow and supersize our business. So what kind of action, and this is just a time to check yourself, what are you doing in these times? Are you stopping, reflecting, and actually taking the time to decide what is the best action for you given the current set of circumstances? Then fiddle away. That's awesome. And maybe to other people, it looks like you're shutting your door and you're having quiet time and you're not doing anything when they think you should be acting right now. It doesn't matter what other people think. It's what is the best move for you and your business moving forward. Now, I will admit that I've been guilty of using things like procrastination or doing activities that seem unimportant, getting stuck in these learning loops and just going through huge stages and phases of learning about something before I make a decision, before I make a choice, before I make a directional change in my business. And to other people on the outside, that probably looks like fiddling or going in circles. And sometimes to me, it is procrastination. It is spending too much time and energy learning about something before I take an action. Perfectionism, which I do not have, obviously. I'm sitting here in curlers. If you are watching me, you can see I'm sitting in curlers in a bathrobe. Obviously, perfectionism is not my problem, but for a lot of people it is. I can't take an action. I can't move. I'm frozen in place until, the stars align and everything's perfect for me to take an action. That would be an example of fiddling while Rome burns. Our inability to make decisions as human beings has gotten really out of control. I mean, have you ever gone out with a group of people and nobody can decide where you're going to go for dinner? There's 100 restaurants in my small town, but I'll go out with a group of people and no one will make a decision about where we're going to go for dinner. Hate that. I'm like, before we even decide we're going to go, let's pick the cuisine style that we're going to eat, and that'll at least let us narrow down the search. So procrastination, the cure for procrastination to me is stopping, and for learning loops as well. And there's so much information, we can just get lost in studying and learning and trying to figure things out. The person that's got a PhD but doesn't have a job, that's an example of fiddling while Rome burns, right? You got to make a living and take care of yourself, but you're living in your parents' basement because you are afraid to go get a job, right? Fear and stress, doubt and worry, negative emotions tend to freeze us and cause us to stop taking action. And of course, the cure for procrastination, perfectionism, fiddling while Rome burns, is to take an action, do something. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but one step in the direction of where you want to go. If you're scared to grow your business, just take one step forward in growing your business. Get online and Google, how do I grow my business? Something as simple as that. Be curious about something, but get into some form of action. Do something, do anything, make a choice, make a decision. It's probably not going to be perfect. Guess what? Not many of us make the perfect decision all the time, or hardly ever. So just make a decision, take some action, and you'll know immediately if you need to course correct or not. But it's better to be moving and course correcting than to be frozen and planted in your space or in your place, especially when you want to grow and thrive and make differences and changes in the world. And you wouldn't have a business if you didn't want to do that, right? We wouldn't. We wouldn't have businesses if we didn't want to make the world a better place. So go out, don't fiddle while Rome burns. Take some action today, and if I can help you in any way, shape, or form, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be here tomorrow with another interesting idiom, where it came from, and what it might mean to your business, what it's meant to me, and what it might mean to me going forward, and what it might mean to you going forward. Just a different way, a different perspective, a different way of thinking about things that impact us that a lot of times we don't even realize they're impacting us. There's so much of our life that busily spins around us when we're building our business that we don't even stop, take a deep breath, and notice. And things that could be really detrimental to us because we're not taking action on them. We might totally miss them because we're focusing on things that don't necessarily matter. There's things that matter really a lot in our businesses, and there's things that don't matter at all. In the food business, it mattered very much to pay attention to safety and sanitation and cleanliness and food safety and regulations and things. In my life now, it makes no sense to even think about those things. I'm in charge of my own destiny, and so those things are not even an issue. But in that particular business, they were very, very important and actually critical to the success or failure of that business and that organization. So sometimes we need to pay attention to things that other people don't understand, and maybe we just need to educate them on why they are important. So, no fiddling while Rome burns. Go out, have an amazing day. I'll be with you tomorrow.